Alright, so let's get started with our node server. For this application, we will use a MongoDB in the backend. So of course you could use something else. There are many options, but I will stick with this because it's quite simple. I will link to this installation guide, or just Google install MongoDB. Pick your option, and for me, I'm on a Mac, so I already installed it. Perhaps using this one, or what is more simple is using brew. So simply call brew install MongoDB if you're on a Mac, and pick the according option to go through this on Windows. If you have any problems, of course, let me know, but do this before you continue now. So then in my case, I got this command, which will simply start my MongoDB. So then I can use it with my Node app. But anyway, we will continue with our node server by calling npm init and follow this wizard, whatever, a simple socket chat. The entry point will be the server.js. We don't need all of this. Oh, my name changed here. Whatever, and yes, this is fine. So now, after running this command, we already got a package JSON, but it's not really doing anything. So let me copy in some dependencies that we need. So, first of all, we need to zoom in a few times, zoom in, and finally zoom in. And now this should look a bit better for your screen. All right, so we got the body parser, which will help us to parse some data. And then we got the course. For some course problems, we can use this directly. We got an error handler. Express will actually serve our stuff. Mongoose is something called an open database mapper. So this will map our database models to our code. Then we got an extension for some timestamps. Morgan is for logging. And finally, we got socket.io. We can already call npm install now, which will generate our node modules folder. And we can continue with the server.js. And also we need a folder called app, and inside a folder models. I think that's fine for now. First of all, well, this is quite uninteresting, so let me copy this in. We require all the stuff we've installed so we can use this inside our app. Now we can go ahead and create a new app through Express, and we can use some tools like the body parser. Perhaps this is not always needed in this example, and perhaps it's a bit much, but I wanted to cover some basic Node.js stuff, so you can run this code later and build your own node servers. So perhaps also use course with some options like this. I don't want to go into details for all of this. It's just something for our app. Then if our process environment, which we won't change in this example, but I will use it now, is development. In that case, we also want our app to use the logger with a dev environment, and also use our special error handler. I couldn't tell you exactly what this is doing right now, but I always have this stuff inside my apps, so it's a good idea to have some general basic stuff inside your server.js. If it's not working for you, of course, you can leave it out or change it, but for now this should work. Same for the port. You could get it from the environment, which we haven't set in this case, so we will simply fall back to 5000. Let's see, what can we do as well. Yeah, we can use Mongoose, and the promise from Mongoose, set this to a global promise, and then we can call Mongoose connect, and all our app will be able to use the Mongoose connection. So in general, this should be the MongoDB, and in our case, if we run it local, it's at localhost, and then whatever name, I will just give it the name socket chat. If this does not exist, it will be created. So then we need to go ahead, or we can go ahead and say connection on error. So this is quite good if you're working perhaps the first time with Node.js or MongoDB. So you can log out your error or even console error and print the error. So in that case, we can directly call process exit because it won't work. Perhaps I can demonstrate if my MongoDB is not running and I call node server.js. We directly get a warning. Oh, come on, what was that? That something is not working, and now I closed it accidentally. So then we will get an error which will directly close our app. So make sure your MongoDB is running, and if you start it, then you won't get the error. But we're not yet finished with the app. We actually have not started our server. So we say server is HTTP create server from our app. And now we can listen to the server events, and we can then print out that our server is actually running. So this should be on HTTP localhost, and then we got the port. So hopefully, if we save this and now run node server.js, we got the message listening on localhost 5000. Of course, there's nothing yet happening. We have just bootstrapped the plain server, and now we can continue with the actual implementation for the rest. But make sure that up until this step, your app is running, you got the Mongoose connection to your MongoDB, and then you can continue.